My question for you is, and I ask this with pretty much every creator, and even with some creators that I know, I just ask them every year because I feel like it's an important question to answer for us full time creators. Do you have any concerns about the longevity of your career?
Hmm.
Because I always think like, yo, well, I'm assuming like we're all making good money right now, but at some
Hmm.
point, like people are gonna want to start families. At some
Hmm.
point, what are your interests gonna be when you're 40 years old? You know what I'm saying? When you
Right,
have
right.
responsibilities, when you got a family to take care of, bills, a mortgage to, retirement. You're thinking about retirement. Like,
Hmm.
what has your strategy been essentially to like tackle that problem issue in your like career type shit?
Well, I would say on one front, I've tried to get into things that have no cr- uh, connection to content creation at all.
Mm-hmm.
So like outside of it, not drug dealing. It sounds sus, but it, I ain't out here slagging. um,
Real estate. That's
no,
what everyone says, man. Real estate, crypto.
yeah, yeah. No, no. I've looked at other opportunities because I think years before I was ever a YouTuber. Actually, I
Mm-hmm.
remember when I was on the side of YouTube where I would see like T Martin videos and I think even Sniper Wolf at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I think they both said at a point they were like, oh well, YouTube could go away tomorrow and I would still be fine. And when I always remember that, and when I became a creator, literally from day one, that was always, always, always my main goal is, hey, this is cool,
Mm-hmm.
but I really do want it to be to a point where if for some reason they terminate my channel tomorrow, I won't have a heart attack. Basically, I'll still be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've kind of always approached it with that. And so in looking in other opportunities completely outside of content creation, I think that's one. But I also do think now, specifically at the point I'm at, and we were just having that conversation about the the NBA and other platforms pretty
Mm-hmm.
much embracing creators. That's really helped because I am no longer really just my videos. I am not just what my stream revenue was
Mm-hmm.
last month or whatever. I work with multiple different companies, and my hope is that that continues to grow. So if we are looking another 7 years into the future, it's at a point where I've really established connections with those type of companies, and
Mm-hmm.
we are continuing to work, and we just have more solid connections. So it's not just what you're doing. What was your last video? Because and
Yeah.
what you were talking about earlier with burnout, yeah, that used to happen around 2019. I was burned all the way the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
I
That was
got
me
stuck
too.
on the treadmill of making top 10 videos, and I felt like that was all I could make, and I hated that shit. And even though they were
Yeah.
so successful,
Mm-hmm.
that was probably the most successful stretch, but that's because it's top 10 stuff. That's super easy to make.
Yeah.
And I was bored and I hated doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And but that was still 2019 was still at a time where I think it was way more important what the last video said. And so yeah, just in the future, whenever people always ask, "Oh, what's your goal for the future? Where do you see this in so many other years?" I always just say, I hope it's a further incarnation of what it is right now, where I work with the 2K League at the moment, so that's esports. Working with the actual NBA, working with Bleacher Report, working with Tommy Hilfiger. That was a nice little opportunity that came around,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm hoping that through all that stuff, as I'm kind of branching out of just making videos, when you look in the future, it's literally just more of that, hopefully. Because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I have no I have no what do you call it, illusion that everything will can just always be the same
Yeah.
on YouTube. It can just always be the same on Twitch, and that a sponsor is always going to pop up in your email with a certain amount. I know that's not.
Yeah.
You can't count on that forever. So yeah, I don't worry about it a whole lot. I try to just live it
Live
a
in the
day at a
moment.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and grow from that. But yeah, I've always approached it with the idea that I don't want to be dead in a week if my channel gets taken down, because that
Yeah.
can happen. Yeah, you
No,
might
I
not
feel
even
that.
know. People get banned on Twitch for who knows why, and
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about that.
That's similar to my viewpoint because I feel like at least right now the creator economy is in a state where there's essentially three scenarios. One, you're not making it. Like you just don't have a platform enough to even do this full time.
Mm,
Two, you have a blow up like I don't know, like Aiden and Kai, and money is not an issue. Your career longevity is not an issue because you cashed out such a big amount in a small amount of time. You all need to have those conversations. And I think there is that middle ground of people who are able to make content and have a platform that generates, I don't know, 60,000 to 200,000 a year. But then there's questions about how can you do this for 10, 20 years? And I think for those creators, unless again you're trying to venture out outside of content creation, if you're really passionate about being a creator, I think the game plan is accepting that change is a part of this shit. Like taking it in spurts, essentially, kind of like actors, right? Like a certain gig is gonna last you for 4 to 5 years, but you need to leverage those 4 to 5 years into your next thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that I think you've done a really good job transitioning from NBA YouTube to streaming, and then leveraging that to your connections with directly with the NBA and the 2K League. Me personally, I leveraged all that attention to Let's Keep It a Buck. Now I'm doing this stream, leverage those connections to work with even, guys like Low and Agent. Kenny has
Yeah.
done a fantastic job of transitioning from 2K, and I think he literally put out a tweet saying, "Yo, King of the Fourth Quarter is done. Like it's coming to an end." But he has transitioned that to Through the Wire. He's transitioned that to his connections with Bleacher Report, and he's connected that. He's transitioned that and leveraged that to Kenny for Real.
Right.
So I think that's just a game, and
Yeah.
it's just a matter of accepting that for a lot of creators for real. So
Yeah, exactly. No, that's the blueprint. Obviously, everybody can't do it like Kenny's done it. Everybody's not going to be able to, but
Yeah.
that should be the blueprint. Is that you're looking at it in terms of, look, there is only one Chris Move that I know of who is still to this day, 14, 15 years later, still using his channel as a, which by the way, I'm sure he would be fine without, because he probably got invested in other stuff. But like how much variation he's had on his channel, how much ad revenue he still probably gets off of it to this day, that is so extremely rare. And he's been able to take that from when he was a kid in college to where he is now a grown man in probably his mid 30s. And it's still fine for him. And it'll probably still be fine for him for who knows how long. Maybe the views aren't what they used to be, but because of the frequency with which he posts, ad revenue is probably still kicking for him. And the thing is, like, yeah, you just have to look at it and say, hey, everything that's not going to happen for a lot of people. So if you do get pretty much like us where we are, I think we're probably in the third category that you were pretty much talking about. Yeah, you do have to look at it in terms of what else can I turn this into, whether it's using some of the money that you got from this and investing in outside stuff and making good decisions with that, because you really fuck up there if you do the wrong thing. But looking at it that way, or looking at what other opportunities can you leverage, you got to look at it like that, because who knows, like 7 years has gone by in a blink of an eye and NBA YouTube is still cool. Maybe 7 years will go by and for some reason, like, my channel will just turn off and you won't be able to reach the same amount of people anymore. I don't know. So he's like, yeah, you pretty much do have to approach it with that in mind, unless you were able to take like $2 million in a year.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And knock on wood, I wish the best for both of us and everyone like in our position. But let's keep it a buck. Some of y'all, when y'all get to that point, y'all gotta look at the bank account realistically and say, I have to have a boss. Like, I need a 9 to 5, bro. like for real. So it's just about like being realistic, with your situation, your scenario. So